Hi, I'm Tony Bowen and welcome to my Corn Country Rails. Well, this is part 5 of my 5-part series on coverage of the 2025 N Scale Convention in Kansas City. Well, it was the last day of the convention for us on Sunday, and so we checked out of our hotel room, but before we left to head home to eastern Iowa, our plan was to do some rail fanning in the Kansas City area. Well, we decided to railfan at Santa Fe Junction, and it didn't take us very long to see a train. Here we see an Amtrak engine that came out of Union Station, came out so far, switched, and went back to Union Station on a different track. We'll see it again in the video when it comes out with its whole train later on in this video. There were several of us from the N Scale Convention that kind of gathered here that Sunday morning to railfan before we kind of headed home for the day. We were also keeping a close eye on the weather as the western sky was definitely getting very cloudy as our morning of staying at Santa Fe Junction kind of unfolded. The Union Pacific main line is where those tank cars are, and where that train going above them on kind of the flyover track, that is the BNSF. There were trains essentially all around us. Here's a BNSF train that was headed east with a coal train. And here comes the rail runner train across Missouri, back out again with the whole train. And it comes out so far, and then basically it shoves its whole train back into Union Station. Here we have a UP train coming off the bridge, and then it will kind of swing to the north to head into one of the yards. And here we see a BNSF train kind of on the flyover track as we are contending with one of our first rounds of rain that morning. And we see a BNSF grain train that is holding the main down there as the UP train is still coming off the bridge and heading into the yard. We see another eastbound Union Pacific train on the upper part of the bridge. Right after that Union Pacific coal train came another eastbound Union Pacific coal train right behind it. And in the distance, we hear a BNSF train from somewhere. This BNSF train had to stop just short of the crossing. The train that we just saw that was going over the flyover track was probably having to get a little distance ahead of it before this train could be released to follow behind it. And as this train was going by, the sky was getting a little darker, the air was getting a little cooler, and we knew the rain was going to be here very soon.
How does all four going around the train on this side?
Finally, the grain train had been released to move ahead, but about the time the power got by us, Mother Nature decided it was time to also dump a second round of rain on us, and it came down hard, fast, and cold. Well, after this point, I stopped filming because it just started opening up and pouring down on us. And seeing that it wasn't going to let up, Michael and I decided to head over to Doc's Caboose to check out that hobby shop before we left the Kansas City area and headed for home. Like all the hobby shops we had visited while we were in the Kansas City area, Doc's Caboose did not disappoint. Great selection of weathering supplies and tools, and it's one of my favorite hobby shops that I have hit anytime I've been in the Kansas City area. So we had a great time at the convention, but it was time to take our N Scale treasures and head for home. It rained on and off for the majority of our 6.5 hours on the way home until I was about 7 miles from home and saw this rainbow. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the recap series I've done on the N Scale Convention. Remember, next year's convention is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I hope to see you there. As always, thanks for watching and happy railroading to you.